For example, when we choose to resign from, let's say MetLife, and let's say MetLife has a 90-day notice period, meaning you have to give 90 days notice before you're out of MetLife. What that means is that the day you resign from MetLife, you will be delisted from their website. You'll no longer be on their website as a preferred provider. However, you have to, so the flow of new patients from MetLife will have dried up right there as you're no longer being shown. However, you have to stay in network for 90 days. So let's say you sent the resignation out May 1st. I'm just making up a date. That means that 90 days, so May, June, July, August 1st, you would now be out of network with MetLife. So as we do our planning, we want to plan to talk to as many patients as possible that have MetLife. So ideally, we start talking 6 months before the first, the day you'd be out of network. In this case, we resign May 1st, May, June, July. So we start 6 months ahead of August 1st, and we start having a heads up conversation. And the heads up conversation, we identify every patient on the schedule every day that has MetLife, whether it be a hygiene patient or a restorative patient. So we identify who they are. The next thing we do is we select a team member or doctor to have the conversation with the patient. Okay, who wants to have the conversation with Naren? And Naren, maybe Kelly, your hygienist, says, oh, hey, I know Naren really well. I'll have the conversation with Naren. And we make sure that someone's going to have the conversation with them that day. And we simply do that day in and day out, until we work our way through the Aetna patients or through the MetLife patients. And what we find is when we have that conversation with them, the heads up conversation, then we end up with retaining more of those patients because we tell them what's happened. Nothing's changing today, Naren, but I do want to tell you about a change that's coming in the future. Effective August 1st, we'll no longer be contracted with your MetLife insurance. And then we continue with the heads up conversation. Remember, Naren, that people think that communication is just the words that we use. But linguists and experts in communication will tell you that the message delivered by communication is only 7% words. What's the other 93%, Naren?
It's the facial expressions. It's the tone of voice. It's the, even when somebody slows down, paying attention.
Pace of voice.
Yeah, it's
Volume.
All the other things outside of the words.
Right. So if you only want to get 7%, just send a letter out. And by the way, you may not even get 7% because they're not all going to get the letter.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
best you're going to get is 7%.
Yeah, more than likely you'll get like 1%.
But if you now can talk to them, they can ask questions, and we can let them. One of the things we say at the end of the heads up conversation, we tell them what we want them to do. We say, Naren, nothing would make us happier than having you continue to come to our office for your dental care. We take care of you like we would a family member. Our goal is to deliver the highest quality dental care. And also, we're going to work very hard to make every visit a positive experience. Our fondest hope is you continue to come here for your dental care. We let them know what we want them to do. So mistake number one, not talking to patients face to face. I've had clients just get impatient with it. And I'm just going to send the letter out.
Right.
And I usually try to talk them down off the ledge to get a better result. All right, mistake number two, not proactively replacing any patients you will lose. You're going to lose some people when you go out of network. You want to proactively replace them because you're no longer going to be on the Aetna website, the MetLife website. So you got to replace them from somewhere else. And I politely suggest the best place to replace them with is Google. And you do that through mastering organic search engine optimization. We not only have to replace the people that you're going to lose, but you have to replace the historic flow of patients that have come in. Let's say you're an office that gets 20 new patients a month from Delta.
Right.
Well, annualize that, Naren. That's 240 a year.
Yes.
You got to have a way to replace those. So that's mistake number two, not proactively replacing any patients you will lose. Mistake number three is not getting your team on board. Very important to get your team on board.
Again, many of these things are not just, there's a magic wand, you wave it and it's solved. You have to, there's a lot of details, a lot of things that have to be.
The devil's in the details.
Thought through and done well.
doctors, you should expect some pushback from your team on this. You should expect that, especially if their only experience has been working in a PPO practice. That's all they know. That's all they're familiar with.
Right.
But there's so many ways we can get your team on board. And perhaps most importantly is talking to them about what's in it for them as you make this transition. What's everyone's favorite topic, Naren?
Me.
Themselves.
Yes.
So talk to them about what's in it for them. And watch how quickly they jump on board. And arm them with skills and training and support. And watch what happens. When you get the entire team on board, there's no stopping you. There's no stopping you. And finally, mistake number 4. Not strengthening the connection you have with your patients. You know, I call it being relationship driven, where we know our patients' names, their spouse's name, their kid's name, their dog's name. We know their hobbies. We know their interests. We know the important dates in their life. And the challenge with a PPO practice, Naren, I suspect that most of our listeners, you know, if they're listening to a dental podcast on their own time, I suspect that our listeners have a relationship-driven approach. They want to do everything they can to strengthen their practice to better serve their patients.
Right.
But everything about being a PPO practice takes you away from doing that because you have to pedal like you're the hamster on the treadmill.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes you away from getting to know your patients. So one thing we can do is we can really work hard on doubling down on connecting with our patients in the lead up to reducing insurance dependence. It's not a new thing. You've been doing it already, but we want to go back and do things that maybe we'd like to do more of. So we're truly connected with our patients. The more connected you are with your patients, the more rapport and relationship you have with them, and the more how they know you care about them, the less likely they'll ever be to leave.
Yeah.
Those are the 4 mistakes, most common. So DIY resigning from PPO plans, what could possibly go wrong? Well,
A lot.
DIY adult orthodontics in the form of Smile Direct Club, what could possibly go wrong?